Memorable roles? Calvin, the sexy pet shop owner in Rattled Cages, and Edward, the alcoholic pilot in the twisted comedy adventure The Stabbist. Best features? Those dark bedroom eyes and that kissable dimple on his chin. Reader's rating? Super fine. "Annette," Felix said, "Matthias isn't in, and I need—" "Whoa!" Becky said, because the baby kicked her hard in the bladder. Felix startled, backing up and nearly falling over a chair. "Sorry, I was whoaing because right when you came in, the baby kicked, not because you're Felix Callahan." "Oh, you know what it reminded me of? When Elizabeth's baby kicks just as Mary greets her? Isn't that funny? As if I had some spiritual sign when I saw you." Annette smiled, her eyebrows raised. Felix glared handsomely. Becky stamped down a desire to squirm. "No, it's not terribly funny," Felix said, "particularly as I've no idea what you're talking about." "Elizabeth, wife of Zacharias, cousin to Mary, mother of Jesus? No? Nothing?" Felix looked at her with a careful lack of amusement. "Oh, maybe you don't have the Bible in England. See, there's this guy named Jesus, and his mother is named Mary, and, well, it's a really interesting read if you don't mind parables." Okay, Becky was not on her best form here. See, she was trying to be funny to relieve the tension, but the nerves and Felix Callahan and the clicking of gypsy jewelry and all made a mess of her head. "So, do you already know Felix?" Annette asked, confused. "Yes," Becky said, because she felt she did know him. She'd watched Rattled Cages an embarrassing number of times. "I mean—" "No, we've never met," Felix said. Becky couldn't stop a laugh. She faced Los Angeles like an anthropologist in the field, observing and taking notes in order to amuse her husband later. Between the producer in gypsy attire and this conversation, Mike was going to be thrilled. "That's true. I just meant that I knew who you—" "Whoa! You must be important. Baby just kicked again, hard." "Ah," Felix said. "By baby, I assume it's one in your womb, meaning you're pregnant? That is something of a relief, as I thought that you were just fat." Becky readjusted her smile to something that felt more caustic. "Don't be so hasty. I might be fat, too." Sans baby, she hovered between a size 10 and 12, if you were wondering. "Now that I hear your accent, I realize that you actually are British. What a relief. I had assumed that you were some actor performing a caricature of a British jerk." Becky did her very best not to wince after saying jerk. Besides being rude, it was just so pedestrian. Annette stared between them, then rose to her feet, bracelets quarreling. "Felix, happy to help you, but Becky here is about to sell me her screenplay, and you know a lot of British people, do you?" Felix kept his eyes on Becky, his gaze boring through her skull. "You're an expert?" "Oh, I know enough," she said, enjoying herself much more than she knew she should. "Hello, love," she said in a really horrible English accent. Then she explained to Annette, "That's how all British talk. Hello, love. Spare me a copper." "Copper, that's what they call their money." "Interesting," Felix said. "So if they call money copper, what do they call a policeman?" "Bobby." "Then what do they call Bobby?" "Frank." At that point, Felix Callahan pressed the back of his hand to his mouth. At first, Becky suspected he was trying to push a laugh back in, but when he spoke, there was no humor in his voice. "You are by far the most fatuous woman I've met today." "Hey, enough with the fat commentary already." He started to scoff, saying, "I didn't—" then noticed her amused expression. "You're teasing me." "All part of being fatuous. Annette, my flight isn't until tomorrow, so I'm going to take the contract back to the hotel to read and bring it by in the morning. Thank you. Cheers, love." She gathered her purse, glasses, and contract in an awkward bundle and saw herself out the door. The offices of Bub and Hubbub Productions sat a couple dozen stories above Los Angeles, the windows squaring off with other high-rises against the grayish tint of polluted air. She'd been expecting something fancy, it being the movie biz and all, but the offices evoked a high school